Welcome back to your one-stop shop video newsletter. All the biggest tech news, all the biggest storylines in 5 minutes or less. Everything from Apple's latest research into MM1. Rivian and Tesla can be friends, actually, and apparently so can Apple and Google. I'm Nate. I'm keeping you informed on the biggest news in tech, and it helps me out if you hit that subscribe button. Well, in news, so many things. Firstly, actually, I should go back to this one. MM1, everything we know about it. Jose Adorno, fantastic article from BGR. All of his articles are great, in my opinion. The short version is Apple's working on a multimodal AI model, and it's pretty awesome. State of the art is the word that many journalists are using. I can't remember if I said this yesterday, but I don't think I did, so I'll just pull it up real quick. The App Store is now available for the Apple Vision Pro on the World Wide Web, which means anybody can go to apps.apple.com/US if you're in the US /vision, and boom, you can see all of the apps. I think this has wide-ranging implications, in my opinion. I did an entire video on both of these, and they're going to be available on my main channel, so you should subscribe to my main channel so you don't miss those two videos going to all the details about why those things are huge and massive and everything else. Continuing on, Apple ID is expected to change to Apple Account starting with iOS 18. There you have it. Rivian owners can now access Tesla superchargers. So that's Rivian and Ford now. This is interesting and fun coming from a company like Rivian. We've talked about Rivian a couple times on this channel, but I think this is an interesting one especially, and very smart business from Tesla, if you ask me. I just think it makes a lot of sense. NVIDIA unveils its latest AI chip at AI Woodstock, as they like to call it. And although on Safari, I don't have my Wall Street Journal plugged in, I will pull it up on my other app and read it to you real quick, just so that you don't miss out on what this is going to be. This is crazy. This is nuts. I mean, somehow NVIDIA just keeps getting powerful and more powerful and more powerful. Our whole world's going to change. Huang said, CEO, said that the new chips could train the latest large AI models using 2,000 Blackwell GPUs using just 4 megawatts of power over 90 days. Using the older model chips, that process would take 8,000 GPUs, so 4 times the number of graphics processors, using 15 megawatts over that same amount of time. So that's an incredible efficiency. Again, the new ones, 2,000 Blackwell GPUs using just 4 megawatts of power over 90 days versus 8,000 GPUs using 15 megawatts over the same period of time, over 90 days. That's wild stats, if you ask me. I think that's very exciting. Moving on to the final story. Some iPhone AI features might be powered by Google Gemini or ChatGPT. This is a really interesting one, and I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't have that on the screen, by Chris Smith over at BGR as well. And this is a pretty fascinating one, but Apple's been in talks with Google. I also, just disclaimer, I also talked about this in my one of my main channel videos coming out today, so you should check out my main channel for that. But wow, this is really interesting, and I think it's mostly interesting because Apple is now in talks with Google, has been in talks with OpenAI in the past about using ChatGPT, now thinking about using Gemini potentially on the iPhone. And it could go the direction that Samsung is going and say, I'm going to use this thing, just that one thing, and I'm going to put that into my iPhone. So we'll see what actually comes out of all of that. But I think it's very interesting that Apple's looking at working with Google, who is arguably one of the founding tech fathers of AI in a lot of ways, not literally in the definition of AI. I know the whole story, but I'm thinking more so you've got IBM, who's kind of maybe the real father, right? But then IBM, Microsoft, and Google, I mean, you could kind of argue between the three of them who's really done the most. And Google's definitely in the conversation with done the most in AI. So I think this is a big deal. This is smart business from Apple if they can find a way to leverage this Gemini conversation or aspects of Gemini while also maintaining Apple's values of privacy, safety, etc. So we'll have to see how that all plays out, but I'm coming up on 5 minutes. You know what we do here. We think different. We stay crazy.